Welcome back to the channel everyone, hope you're all doing fantastic. In today's video, we'll be talking about the aspects of ships in Pirate 101. We'll be dividing the video into 3 parts, which are sailing and exploration, nautical levels and ship gear, and lastly ship combat. Let's get into it. First up, we have sailing and exploration. Some of the good things about sailing in Pirate is that you don't need any active fuel or energy source for your ship, meaning you can go on forever like with sailing. You're also able to multitask with other things, especially if you have to sail long distances. Say for example, you have to sail 12,000 meters to this island. In that time, you can probably be like working on an essay or like cleaning or something. And then you also got the wind lanes, which support you a lot. And I bet like 80% of the sailing done in this game is done in a wind lane because that's how helpful they are. However, there's some bad things about sailing in this game. The first thing I want to cover is the boost fuel. Boost fuel is too restricted and can only be purchased with gold or crowns. Late game, this is fine as gold is no longer limiting or hard to come by. Early to mid game though, this isn't fine because gold is scarce and you have to buy gear, companion training points, and other stuff. A change I'd like to see them implement is that we should be able to replenish our fuel without having to pay gold. Say we can gather resources which we can craft into boost fuel, or even have like green yum yum fruit that can replenish boost fuel. And since we're on the topic of sailing to places can take long sometimes. I suggest adding a mechanic where there are, for example, like 5 spots across the entire skyway. If you were to sail into one spot, you can teleport to another. To make this seem more piratey, the spots can be like whirlpools and toss your ship around, damaging it. They're surrounded by enemies and they can be risky to take but very rewarding. Now let's move on to the next category, nautical levels and ship equipment. The good thing about nautical levels is that it's another aspect of gameplay for you to work on. And you can like set a goal for yourself to get like the best ship equipment in the game, or to have like the rarest pieces. And I also like that there's a variety of pieces for equipment for the ship, giving it different powers, stats, and even changing how it looks. I know some people are all about the customizability. My main gripe about nautical level though is that in order to keep it high, your companions must almost always be doing the sailing task. I feel like this shouldn't be the case and the main quest should offer some nautical experience, as you shouldn't have to rely on side quests and companion tasks to stay high enough level. Side quests should only be done if you want to get an edge over your enemy. The other issue with ships is that ship equipment can be expensive when buying in bulk. Meaning if you were to buy a ship, you would need to buy new pieces of gear for each slot to fully equip that ship. This is an issue because, like I said earlier, gold is scarce and hard to come by early levels, so players will start to struggle when they have to get a new ship and have to equip that ship. And I feel like the main quest should like help support you. For example, upon completing a skyway in a world, you should receive a piece of ship equipment to better prepare you for the next area or world. This combined with nautical experience from main quests could help even the playing field when it comes to ship combat and difficulty spikes. Lastly, let's move on to ship combat. The good thing about ship combat is that it's another aspect to give to the pirate feel, and it's a mechanic that's interesting at first. What I also like is that later in the game, you're given access to powers that allow you to summon titans and beasts to attack enemy ships, which is pretty cool. However, the bad thing about ship combat is that when your powers go into cooldown, the combat tends to get really boring. And this is felt even later on in the game when cooldowns for powers are like 20 seconds or more. I feel like the main reason of this is because of the click 1 through 4 gameplay aspect. I personally think they should get rid of the click 1 through 4 gameplay, as it's really repetitive and boring. So instead of that, I think ship combat should work like this. Upon entering the firing range of another ship, a prompt should appear asking you to engage in battle. If you choose to, you'll be teleported to your cannons on your ship in a sort of split screen fashion, and you'll have to manually run to your ship cannons to fire them. You don't have to fire each cannon one by one, but instead you'll go to different zones on your ship to fire multiple cannons in those zones. Upon hitting the enemy ship enough, you'll build up access to your ship's powerful arsenals, which would be like the 1 through 4 powers we have right now. These cannot miss and will deal heavy damage and apply other effects. Later on, when you get bigger ships and more cannon zones, running across the ship to fire cannons will take too much energy, and this is where you can assign companions to help fire cannons on your ship. It'll be similar to companion tasks and can be called something like man the cannons. Cannonballs sent by your ship will also do more damage than they currently do and can still miss. Hopefully the explanation I provided can give you a picture of what I mean, and I feel like this sort of overhaul to help ship combat will make it more fun. The other aspect of ship combat is the tokens. Tokens on your ship is briefly touched in the tutorial, and for those of you who forgot the mechanic, it's basically these coins on your ship that appear during ship combat, and when you run to them you either clear dangerous debris that would appear in deckside combat, you can heal your ship, or remove additional mobs that would appear in deckside combat. I feel like this aspect of the ship combat would work really well with the ship combat overhaul I just talked about, except instead of having tokens, the actual effects of a token should appear on your ship. For example, the green tokens repair your ship health when you go collect them, but instead you can go to patch a hole in the floor. Or to remove a fire token, you can go and remove it with a water hose. Companions assigned to the man the cannon task will also clear these for you, but at a slower rate. I know a lot of the changes I talked about are most likely wishful thinking, but I feel like if KingsIsle ever does a ship overhaul, some of these things will be welcomed well into the changes. The activities involved with ships in Pirate tend to push people away from the game or from completing their quest. And that's a major issue because this is a game about pirating, sailing, and having a crew. When one major part of the game is unfun or boring, it won't do well in the long run. Let me know what you guys think of my ideas in the comments, what you would change, and what other ideas you guys would like to see. Thanks for watching, I'll see you all in the next one.